Islam, Islam, Islam. This meeting is now being called to order. Please place your phones on mute unless you are the speaker or the teacher for today. There's a feature at the bottom where you could just raise your hand if necessary. Please exercise that feature if you have a question or a comment. Islam, this unity that we, the sons and daughters of the ancient Moabite blood, have established upon these shores of northwestern Mexico in this alien civilization shall be preserved at all costs with the bonds of Ali's holy and divine laws. And if we violate these universal laws or principles by preferring a stranger before thy own sacred blood, then may the flame of swords of our forefathers turn upon us the wrath of Allah and strike us down 7 times. We pledge our allegiance to Prophet Noble Drew Ali under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Time never was. Islam. Islam, Sister Ashley, are you able to lead us in the prayer?
Islam, me is ready.
Islam.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe,
Allah, the Father of love.
the Father of love,
Truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah, my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
my salvation,
and my salvation
my night,
by night
and my day.
and by day
Through His holy prophet,
through his holy prophet,
Drew Ali.
Drew Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Islam, Islam. Please remain on high for the reading of the divine constitution and bylaws. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the divine constitution, and bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh, and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and partial of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and a partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love, and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Islam, Islam. We're going to keep the additional laws and the general laws on our heart today, Islam. So first we rise, we give complete and perfect praise to Allah, the author, creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible. Give honor to his prophet, our illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali, for restoring our nationality and our birthrights here in northwest of Mexico. Honor to the harbinger, Marcus Messiah Garvey, to the charter, bearing the 10 wonders of the world, to the flags, to all past and present and future leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America, to all the groups of Moorish Americans, to every administration, to everybody that is doing their part, we give honors to you. We give honors to Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, to each and every one of you that can hear the sound of my voice, your mama, your daddy, your cousins and them, your grandma and them, your friends, and all things Moorish. Islam, Islam, Islam. Welcome again to the National Koran Study Class. I'm your beloved brother, man, and Fred, brother Kenneth Gale. I'm not going to tarry long because, as y'all know, for those who if this is your first time, every week or creation, as we call it in our society, we are going through a different chapter. And we're studying the Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The logo, Circle 7, divinely prepared by the noble prophet Drew Ali, by the guiding of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sinful and fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Know thyself and Allah, the genealogy of Jesus, life and works of Jesus in India, Europe, and Africa, in the land of Egypt. And we have Noble Drew Ali, the prophet and founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, to redeem the people from their sinful ways. Sultan Abdul Aziz bin Saud, the descendant of Hagar, now the head of the holy city of Mecca, Islam. So again, every single week, we're going through a different chapter, and we've been 48, all the way through 38. We are now on chapter 37, the breath of heaven. Now, I'm not going to tarry too much longer because we have our beloved brother on the line. Just before I'm able to introduce his brother, I am honored to be able to listen to him tonight. He's been a very active sheik and leader in this Moorish Science Temple of America and through the Moorish Divine National Movement for many years. It was really one of my inspirations when I first learned about nationality. I used to watch his videos, hear him demonstrate, and I was like, wow, what is he talking about? How come I ain't heard this before? Why they ain't talking like this in the schools? And it inspired me, and I just stayed close. He's a great inspiration, great role model. He's a father. Just overall, I think a really good man. I encourage us all to take notes tonight. Listen without your passions. I'm sure he's going to demonstrate the breath of heaven, bless us with some holy breath and some wisdom. So take notes, ask questions, and after he demonstrates, as always, we will do a Q&A. Where opportunity for anybody to ask questions, for him to elaborate on his wisdom. But again, I encourage you all, take heed, take notes. We have our beloved brother, Sheik Denham Haqq, and thank you, brother, man. I look forward to this, man. You have the floor. Islam.
Thank you. First of all, I rise to give honors to our divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, giving honors to each and every one of you here, regardless of affiliation, regardless of grand body. It is an honor to be here with all of you, amongst you in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is an honor to be here, honestly, truly. Thank you. Sheik Denham, thank you, brother, for having me here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. And you've also been an inspiration to me as well, brother, to see you continue to do what you do and to carry out the great works that you're carrying out. I feel like, we have some hope. So I continue to look into, and hope that you brothers continue to carry on the work as you are. Thank you. So Islam, so we're reading chapter 36, am I correct?
Yeah, I mixed it up. We're actually on 37. I said know thyself, but it's really 37. But they're two short chapters. So if you want to demonstrate both of them, you got the floor, please.
Well,
but we're actually on 37.
All right, so would you like me to demonstrate 37 then?
Yeah, 37. And hey, if we get done in time, because it's only about 14 instructions, we can
Islam,
keep going. But that's up to you.
Islam.
Wow.
Chapter 37, the Moorish Holy Koran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Chapter 37, Holy Instructions from the Prophet, the breath of heaven. Vaunt not thy body, because it was first formed, nor of thy brain, because therein thy soul resided. Is not the master of the house more honorable than its walls? The ground must be prepared before corn be planted. The potter must build his furnace before he can make his porcelain. As the breath of heaven saith unto the waters of the deep, this way shall thy billows roll, and no other. Thus high and no higher shall and no higher shall they raise their fury. So let thy spirit, O man, actuate and direct thy flesh. So let is repass its wilderness. Thy body is as the globe of the earth, thy bones the pillar that sustaineth on its basis. As the ocean giveth rise to springs, whose water return again into its bosom through the rivers, so runneth thy life from thy outwards, and so runneth it into its place again. Do not both retain their course forever? Behold, the same Allah ordained them. Is not thy nose the channel to perfumes, thy mouth the path to delicacies? Are not thine eyes the sentinels that watch with thee? Yet how often are they unable to distinguish truth from error? Keep thy soul in moderation. Teach thy spirit to be attentive to its God, to its good. So shall these its ministers be always to the conveyance of truth. Thine hand, is it not a miracle? Is there in the creation aught like unto it? Wherefore was it given thee? But that thou mightest stretch it out the assistance of thy brother. Why of all things living are thou alone made capable of blushing? The world shall read thy shame upon thy face, therefore do nothing shameful. Fear and dismay, which robs thy countenance of its ruddy splendor, avoid guilt, and thou shalt know that fear is beneath thee, that dismay is unnamely. Wherefore to thee alone speak shadows in the vision of the pillow. Reverence them, for know that dreams are from on high. Thou man alone canst speak. Wonder at thy glorious prerogative, and pay to him who giveth. To thee a rational and welcome praise, teaching thy children wisdom, instructing the offspring of thy loins in piety. Islam. That was the chapter, The Breath of Heaven. It's a beautiful chapter because for me, this chapter is excellent because it, in a sense, it continues from chapter 36, because chapter 36 kind of deals with Allah's creation, man being the superior creation, having the ability to think and to reason and so on and so forth, not having thinking or reasoning coming from the body, but coming from a higher source. So man being the intelligent, the successor, being, given the dominion to name all things, so on and so forth. The breath of heaven kind of goes further into giving a further explanation of the creation, the highest creation of Allah Ta'ala. The first thing it talks about is the body, and not to vaunt the body. And because that your brain has the soul, where the soul resides, therefore is in the brain. So it talks about, it's beginning to talk about the uses of the creation, the great uses of the creation of Allah Ta'ala. In the chapter prior, it talks about being wonderfully and fearfully created. And this chapter goes further deeply into, first of all, heaven is a state of mind, right? We know that heaven and hell are conditions. So the breath of heaven, or the state of mind, the consciousness, chapter 36 discusses also the consciousness and where is it reposed? Where is it reposed at? Well, repose means to be fixed or situated, and it's asking where's your consciousness situated. So we know and understand that consciousness is not dealing with the brain. We're dealing with a higher function. We're dealing with consciousness. We're dealing with mind, right? So in this particular chapter 37, it's going into the aspects of the creation. It discusses the hand. It discusses the body as being the globe. It discusses the nose, the eyes, the soul, the hands, and so on and so forth. And each one of those particular gifts that it discusses is actually a gift. For instance, the hand. Why does it mention the hand? The hand is something that we all have. We all have hands. But what is so particular about the hand? The Holy Koran teaches you that Allah created man to his very fingertips. Why did they mention fingertips? Because the fingertips on every human being is different. Nobody has the same fingertip. Number one, all fingertips are different. So to mention the hand and is talking about that, that's a miracle in itself, the way we are created, the eyes and so on and so forth. But the hand also is a tool that is used for activity, exchange, to give, and so on and so forth. So the hand has its benefits, its great benefits, as well as the eyes. The eyes are creation. Think about the two eyes that you have and these two lumps of flesh that just sit there, and all of a sudden you are able to see from them. You know what I mean? The soul being in your brain, the brain having a spiritual connotation or a spiritual counterpart being the soul. And we don't understand that the soul is a consciousness and a form of a consciousness, because the soul will continue to gather its life work even after the body departs. The soul is going to continue to carry out and carry many ages until it fulfills the purpose that it was designed to fulfill, or that it took the oath to fulfill on another plane of existence. It mentions the eyes also being able to not, how often are they able to distinguish truth from falsehood? Because perception and sight is actually, it can be deceptive, depending upon perception. I mean, we can have 5 people sitting in the same place, and we all witness the same thing. We all see the same situation, but we will not explain it the same way. Even though all 5 of us are sitting right there, we will not explain it the same way, because the perception kicks in, and your perception begins to work on how you see things and how you speak it out into, how you talk about it. So what you see, I may not see. And that also, sight having a tie into comprehension, being able to comprehend your sight, being able to comprehend exactly what you're witnessing. See, that's a powerful demonstration as well. It also goes into the nose and being able to smell. One thing that I recognize, I don't say this often, but I believe that we talk about 5 senses, and we have sight, smell, touch, taste, and things of that nature. But what I recognize is that in order for us to actually see, light has to touch the retina and so on and so forth, right? For us to actually taste, the food has to touch the mouth, our tongue, right? For us to actually feel, we have to touch something, right? For us to actually hear, the sound has to vibrate and touch a particular part of our ear in order for us to hear. So I just see touch in a sense, like the science of touch from a higher perspective being the sense that allows all of the other senses to exist, because it's the interaction of the touch being unseen, and at times the touch being seen, which is how Allah Ta'ala works. Allah is seen and unseen. Allah is seen through his creation. We teach in this society that when man honors man, he honors Allah. When man looks in the face of man, he's looking into the face of Allah Ta'ala. So we actually are demonstrating a high degree of love. See, for me, love is not an emotion, it's actually an action, which is highly demonstrated. We talk about learning to love instead of hate. Well, we have to understand what love is, because one of our divine principles is love. And all of our divine principles, all 5 of them, are the names of Allah. Those are Allah's names. Those are his attributes, just 5 of them. Those are 5 of them. In our prayer, we have 2 more of those attributes: guide and protector. Those are attributes of Allah as well. So these attributes that we embody is when we begin to embody the divine union of Allah and man as one. Because it's an experience. That is an experience, to have a divine interaction or a divine meeting with the higher aspects of your own self, is something that's an experience. This is how we're given more understanding, because the more you study, the more you learn, the more Allah places mercy upon you and grants you an understanding because you're doing the work, because you're a student. I tell people all the time, I'm not a master teacher. I'm a master student. I'll never be a master teacher. It's not my place to do something like that. That's just not who I am. I'm a master student, which allows me to be able to speak to my peers and speak to them in such a way that's pretty effective, because I'm not coming from a place of authority. I'm coming from a place of equality. I'm just your brother speaking to you. You know, anybody who knows me can tell you, oh, Brother Denham Haqq, he really don't like titles. I do titles for the sake of our society. I have to carry a title, but I'm just your brother who understands, who Allah has granted a particular understanding, and it's my duty to share. So I thank the brother for allowing me to be here, because we are deemed our job. You know what I'm saying? One of our job descriptions is to go to the highways and the byways and to redeem man from his sinful and fallen ways. That's why I spend a lot of my time outside, because that's where the highways and the byways are. I spent many years outside of the temple, driving people into temples, opening temples, and not being a part of any. Because that's where my faith lies. When people say, well, brother, you're not in the temple. So what? But that's where you need to be, though. Don't do what I do. Don't do what I do, right? Islam? So it says, thine hand is not a miracle. Is it not a miracle? Is there in the creation aught like unto it? Wherefore was it given thee, but that thou mightest stretch it out to the assistance of thy brother? That speaks to what I was saying earlier about the service of the hand. We use it not only to assist and to aid and to uplift, but we also use our hands to fix and to repair things that are broke. See, the hands is also symbolic to working on the inner workings of your own self, because in order to fix something that's broke, you must have a particular type of skill and be able to know how to fix that which is broken. So when man is dealing with his own self, man has to be able to have the tools and the right resources that allow him to fix himself. But first, he must know what's wrong and what's broken. That is why the beauty of the knowledge of your own self, the knowing yourself, that's why chapter 36 was important, because it talked about contemplating thine frame. If you knew what Allah Ta'ala did creating us, you would contemplate and remember your creator every chance you get. See, remembrance is just not praying at certain times of the day. Remembrance is also saying the name of Allah, because he has names. This is why we zikr, this is why we meditate, this is why we constantly say things like, if God willing. We always speak with Allah some form or another, inshallah, God willing, in the name of Allah. This is how we should speak consistently. All praise is due to Allah. Alhamdulillah, all praise is due to Allah. Everything you do should be all praise is due to Allah. When you wake up in the morning, all praise is due to Allah. When you're able to drink a water or some water, all praise is due to Allah. Everything goes to Allah Ta'ala. All of the praise, because there's nothing greater than Allah Ta'ala, and he gave us all of our prophets, including our most holy and divine prophet, Noble Jew Ali. Let's carry on. Why of all things living art thou alone made capable of blushing? Think about that. What I just said. I'm going to read that again. Why of all things living art thou alone made capable of blushing? Do you understand the science of a smile and a blush? The muscles that it takes to use to make a smile, and how many muscles it takes to make a frown, and it's more muscles to make a frown than it is to smile, but we like to frown more than we like to smile. And with a smile comes a particular type of frequency when you smile. It does something to you internally. It opens up a frequency when you smile, just as it opens up a frequency when you frown. See, hate is an action, just like love is. And a smile can bring love. Because remember, love is an action that's motivated by environment. motivated by your surroundings, motivated by your children, your grandchildren, motivated by love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, motivated by the fact that, you know, Allah Ta'ala had enough mercy upon us and sent us a prophet who pulled us out of the annals of slavery. Remember that Moorish questionnaire, that 101, with the prophet stepping out of the water. He's salvation, right? But what is salvation? Salvation is to be delivered from harm, ruin, or loss. When the prophet found us, we were a shipwreck. He said he salvaged the pieces on the ship. He salvaged the beings and brought us out. So here we are today, over 100 years later, still giving reverence to Allah Ta'ala and our holy and divine prophet, Noble Jew Ali, by maintaining and keeping those things sacred. The Moorish Holy Koran, our 101s, divine constitution and bylaws, and other laws that stand. So it is an honor, again, to be here. The ground must be prepared before corn be planted. The potter must build his furnace before he can make his porcelain. See, preparation is important. To do anything, you must prepare first. And with preparation, it entails things like research. You got to figure out how you're going to create the outcome, how you're going to measure it. What tools are you going to use to have the outcome manifest itself? Preparation is very important. Look at what our Holy Divine Prophet did with our Moorish Holy Quran. To this day, we have naysayers who say he plagiarized the book. He plagiarized. But plagiarization means to claim authorship of something. In our book, our Moorish Holy Quran says it's divinely prepared. Prepared means he used something. He used other things. He used tools. He used other resources to prepare the book, because truth doesn't change or pass away. This is where discernment comes in. Your perception, again, being able to delineate truth from falsehood. But our prophet was a holy prophet. He was led by Allah Ta'ala. He was led by Allah. Everything he did was done the way it was supposed to be done. Islam, let me get back to the chapter. Pardon me. Here we go. And so the ocean giveth rising to springs, whose waters return again into its bosom through the rivers. So runneth thy life from thy outward, and so runneth it into its place again. Do not both retain their course forever. Behold, the same Allah ordained them. So again, Allah Ta'ala, everything is at the divine providence and under the will and control of Allah Ta'ala. There's nothing that can be not under the control and will of Allah Ta'ala. So here we are again, under the divine providence of Allah through our holy and divine prophet Noble Jew Ali, who brought back to us our divine creed and nationality, which places us in the place of goodness, placing us back into the affairs of the human family, as we all know, because Allah didn't create black, colors, and Negroes. We know that was something that was done through the institution of slavery. And we know also that in order to fulfill Allah's mandate, every nation must have an origin, so on and so forth, which is why Allah said he made and created nations and tribes so that we would know one another. So the prophet knew that black, colors, and Negroes was a semblance of the imagination of a psychology called race, created in the 18th century, a semblance of an idea clothed in a thought, but it was actually a shadow. Has no scientific or medical validity. So nationality is the order of the day. And here we are, speaking and reading our divine and national holy book on this day, open to all bodies from all different temples. Praise Allah that everyone is here, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you. Brother Kinnick, we want to open up the floor. You got any questions? You want to comment, brother?
Islam. Islam, Islam, Islam. Praise Allah. I think you definitely demonstrated a lot of holy breath there. We definitely heard a lot of references and good wisdom to understanding this breath of heaven. And I do have a question for you on the chapter. And this is the point where we are going to open the floor up as well. So if you do have a question for our beloved brother, this is the time to ask. Just use that feature at the bottom. But I'll start because I got one
Yes, sir.
that I would love to hear you elaborate on. I think it helped me out. Particularly instruction number 9. It teaches, it says it reads to keep thy soul in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
Teach thy spirit to be attentive to its good. So shall these its ministers be always to the conveyances of truth.
Yes,
Would you
well.
mind elaborating with some practical application and strategies around how to keep our soul in moderation?
Well,
Because I think about the actions of the soul where it talks about thinking, reason, understanding, and willing. But I'm just curious, like, okay, how do I keep my soul in general, not just the actions, but the essence is all in moderation, like on a practical everyday sense? How do I do that?
well, what you just said, brother, you just said thinking about the qualities of the soul, and you mentioned thinking, reasoning, and so on and so forth. You got to remember a thought creates the manifestation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be careful how we think, right? And we have to be careful who's thinking and what we are thinking on.
Mm.
Because your body has its own nature as well. And it whispers to you. The Holy Koran calls that shaitan, the whisperer. But we know it is the lower self. We know that it's a part, it's the body. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you may get strange thoughts. You may get thoughts that you know may not belong to you. You know what I'm saying? But those thoughts may even entice you because there's a carnal nature attached to the particular type of suggestion that's being given to you. People call it thoughts, but it may just be a suggestion. So we have to be able to differentiate between suggestion and a straight command. Because see, a lot of times it commands us to do things. The shaitan within us gives us suggestions. So understanding that, you are able to use your compass. You are able to keep your soul in moderation. Moderation ties right back into temperance, which is one of the 12 steps on the ladder.
Right.
Temperance means moderation. Temperance and moderation are synonymous. So when studying moderation, why would somebody be moderate? Would it be because possibly they've had some bad habits in the past and they're trying to maybe possibly wean themselves away or get themselves back into a better state, so they have to begin to do things moderately? I'm saying it's a possibility, right? We don't know why a person is practicing moderation, but a lot of times it's to get better, which is why people do things in moderation. Change your dietary habits. Instead of drinking so much such and such, drink it in moderation. Don't drink as much milk. They may tell you drink it in moderation because you're lactose intolerant, but if you really like it, then drink it in moderation if you really like it. You know what I mean? So moderation, it has a lot to do with the person and the individual being able to deal with themselves, knowing enough about themselves to know what to be and how to be moderate in their condition and circumstance, because every individual is different. Islam, and then it mentions teach thy spirit to be attentive to its good. The soul and the spirit have different functions, but a spirit can become tainted by the functions of the soul, or is it the suggestions that, right? You see where I'm going? So we say we enjoin good and forbid evil. That's a constant. If you say that often, that's a constant reminder to enjoin and to forbid evil. You will begin to, not only will you begin to take that and look at that as outside of yourself, but you will also begin to apply it to your own self. Before you do certain things, you may think to yourself, am I enjoining good, or you know what I'm saying, or am I enjoining evil, or am I enjoining good? You know what I'm saying? So
Islam.
I hope that helps a little bit, bro.
Islam, absolutely, absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful breakdown there. Definitely helps. So we're gonna go to the floor. We see first we got our brother Paris Bay, then we got our brother Saddam Tennant L. But brother Paris or Saddam Tennant Bay, I'm sorry. But brother Paris, Bey, you have the floor.
Islam, gratitude, brother. Day. Islam, I first rise giving perfect praise to Allah, honors to his holy and divine prophet, noble Jew Ali, honors to the harbinger, Marcus Messiah Garvey, honors to Twin Grand Sheik Umar being his official staff, honors to each and every one of you, honors to everything more, the two flags that make us Morris American, and all well wishes, sympathizers, and supporters. My question is, can you elaborate and explain instruction number 2, please?
Islam.
Yeah.
I got to go over that earlier, but I'll do it again, brother. The ground prepared before corn be planted. The potter must build his furnace before he can even make his porcelain. Preparation. You know what I mean? Preparation as well as thought. Because in order to prepare something, you have to think about what you're doing before you even make the preparations. So you're dealing with a process. In order for corn to be planted, the farmer has to do certain things to the ground before the seeds can be planted. He has to till the ground. Then he still has to run the mill through it and so on and so forth. Then he still has to again and drop the seeds and then recover it, so on and so forth. So it's a process. In other words, preparation is key for anything that we do. We must be prepared, and we have to prepare properly in order for success. Because in order to have anything grow, you have to plant it successfully. In the process of the planting, there was a prepared process. And the potter, in order to make to build his furnace before he can make his porcelain, again, that's just another tool for the outcome to manifest itself. In order for the porcelain to exist, he knows that he needs heat. So that's a transformation process. In a sense, it's an alchemical process. It's the same thing with man. Man has a preparation too. He has a preparation all the time. He must be prepared to face his trials and tribulations each and every day. And a lot of his trials and tribulations are caused by him. He must be prepared to be able to be accountable and responsible for his own actions. That's why Islam is so beautiful, because it doesn't allow us to blame something outside of ourselves for our failures and faults. Islam?
Man. He said
Gratitude.
Can you say that last part one more time, please? Islam does what now?
I said Islam is a beautiful thing because it does not allow us to blame something outside of ourselves or to place the blame on others. We are to be accountable for our own ways and actions. The Quran instructs you, the Holy Koran instructs you to tell the truth even if it condemns you.
Holy breath. That's the breath of heaven for you. Islam. So we're gonna go. Brother Paris Bay, did you get a good breakdown? Get your question answered, clarified?
Islam, yes, sir. Gratitude.
Praise Allah. Islam. So we're gonna go to our brother Sheik Denham Haqq. You have the floor, sir.
Islam. I rise giving praises to Allah, one all praise, thanksgiving, adoration is due, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Give honors to all of Allah's holy and divine messengers, prophets, and angels. Of course, there was over 124,000. We just don't name a few. Definitely gonna give honors to our prophet, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, noble Jew Ali. Give honors to the one who paid the way for him, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Give honors to Confucius, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon all these worthy servants of Allah. Give honors to each and every one of you. Definitely give honors to our host, King L. Give honors to our speaker for this evening, Brother Denham Haqq. I've been watching you for a number of years now, over 10, 15 years.
Yes, sir.
Do excellent work. Praise Allah. I'm not here to challenge or question. I just want you to share what it means in a very, very elementary way. Because, as you know, a lot of these lessons are pretty sophisticated, and average person, many people can't just take these lessons and break them down to its lowest denominator to where a child can understand it. But
Gotcha.
let's look at instruction 3, 4, and 5. And I would just like for you to tie 3 into 4 and 5.
It's fine. Let's read it. Let's read it again. As the breath of heaven saith unto the waters of the deep, this way shall thy billows roll, and no other thus high, and no higher shall they raise their fury. So let thy spirit, O man, actuate and direct thy flesh. So let is repress its wilderness. Thy body is as the globe of the earth, thy bones the pillar that sustain it on its basis. As the ocean giveth rise to springs, whose water return again into bosom through the rivers, so runneth thy life from thy outwards, and so runneth it into place again. Islam. So verse ayah 3 is making a reference to the winds, in a sense, the physical connotation of how the wind and the waves work together. The billowing is saying that the winds, due to the working of the winds, it actually makes the waves roll. The wind is actuating the power of the waves. As it says, O spirit man, it says, pardon me, so let thy spirit, O man, actuate and direct thy flesh. In other words, the problem that we have, see, the reason we have a higher self and a lower self, we talk about flesh. A lot of times, we are led by our flesh. We are led by it. Let me give you a perfect example. Ever been in a situation where you may be outside and you're going somewhere, walking down the street or something, and you get ready to hit the corner and something says, don't do that, don't go that way. And then another part of you says, yo, but that's the quickest way to get home. And if I hit the, if I go such and such, I'm able to get there quicker, blah, blah, blah. And you go with that because it fits. But you get into a situation, you get into a bad situation. And you say later on when you get home, man, I should have listened to my first instinct.
Wow.
That first instinct is the Allah or the spirit talking to you, actuating your flesh, giving you a commandment to do something that's going to protect you. Because remember, Allah is your guide and your protector. Remember that. And your Allah will always guide and protect you. Your intuition is a friend to you. But it's deeper than that, because your intuition, which is within, where your intellect and your intelligence and all those things are, because they're within. You can't teach intelligence. You can't teach intelligence. These things are already within thee. You know what I mean? So the actuating of the spirit to actuate the flesh. In other words, man is living in his higher self. He's living in his higher self. And he's directing his flesh. So what it does is, by doing that, by directing it, he is repressing it from the dunya, or what we call the world, or what they call, right here is called the wilderness, which is a lowly state, or quote unquote a beast state, or so on and so forth. So man is being redeemed. He's being redeemed through his own understanding, because he understands how to allow his spirit in flesh and so on. And so he understands the connection between Allah and man. As the ocean gives rising to springs, whose waters return again into the bosom through rivers, the light from thy outwards, and so runneth it into its place again. Thy body is as globes of the earth. The connotation of the creation was being stated is that man is solidified. He's the only thing that can stand upright. His intellect solidifies him. It makes him a pillar. It makes him. Your body is the physical form, and it's on bones, which are pillars likened unto what we would call mountains in the earth, like the physical mountains. They're pillars or pegs in the earth. Quran, it calls them pegs. It's the same type of signs when we're dealing with the pillars. Pillars are also landings. When you look at the body is the makeup of, like when you look at your doorway, you see the top of your doorway, and
That frame.
The frame of your door,
Mhm.
frame, that's your waist and your legs, right? And when you open the door, they got hinges, right? They got hinges, right?
Islam.
They got hinges. They got elbows in a sense. Your door. You know what I mean? So,
Mm.
so everything is based on the creation. What the law is telling us is that we are the greatest creation of creation.
Mm.
Man is the greatest aspect of creation because he can stand erect and he has something from on high that none of the other creatures have, even though they have their own measure of intelligence. But do they have an understanding and comprehension? Like it says, like it mentions. So we work from inward outward, not from outward in. And what I mean by that is a man is a reflection of what is going on with him internally.
Mm.
What's going on with him internally outwardly affects everything outside of him. But yet, what goes out of him has to return back to him. So it is careful that you are careful how you think, and be careful of what you're in, what under what circumstance you're thinking, and what under what condition you're thinking, because your thoughts must return to you. See, this is why our prophet was so dangerous, because he said that we are thoughts of Allah. That man is a thought of Allah, that we are thoughts of Allah. Well, you know and understand, see, in Al-Islam, we teach you that it is shirk to bind partners or to make partners with Allah Ta'ala. So they would say that we are on shirk, but think about the higher understanding what's being said, because as we raise ourselves to infinite thought, think about the higher understanding what's being said here. Think about it. We are a thought of Allah. The thought cannot live independent of the thinker. The thought only lives due to the thinker. Therefore, the thought is always attached to the thinker, and the thought, guess what? It has to return to the thinker. So even on a lower level, with us, when we think, when we send things into the universe, thoughts, they return. Be careful what you think. Because see, thought can also be a form of worship. And you could be thinking about the wrong things a lot and put yourself in a bad place. Because belief equals manifestation in this reality. What a person really believes, it happens. It happens. Islam?
Islam, all praise is due to Allah. Excellently explained. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Praise Allah.
It's the breath of heaven, y'all. I see we have our sister Diamond, and I would encourage everyone, if you have a question that you're sitting on, please raise your hand. This is a safe space. All thoughts are welcomed. All right. We are here to learn together and study together. So if you're sitting on it, don't sit on it. It could be somebody else's question. But Islam, Sister Diamond, you have the floor.
First I rise, giving perfect praise to Allah. Honors given to all honors already given. Instruction 2 through 5, what you just went through, it brought back to mind when you said the principles are attributes of Allah, and we call them by name. And so what I was getting out of that, the ground must be prepared before corn be planted. How you said that chapter 37 is really a break off from chapter 36, and in that premise saying that the ground must be prepared before corn be planted, it means that you got to know what you're working with first. You got to go and do that research. You got to know the art from the not. You have to have an understanding before you even start being prepared. You can't prepare for something you know nothing about, because you'll start preparing and you preparing for the wrong thing. And you going in the wrong direction. Now you got to reflip everything over again. So that's what I got out of that.
You're right. I said it too. I mean, you on point. Hey, she's on point, bro. She on point. She on fire over there. She on point. Praise Allah. Excellent observation. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, 100%. You must do the knowledge before you can just do anything. You got to know exactly what you're working with. You got to know. You got to know the outcome before you can even begin to do whatever you got to do. You got to know what you want to achieve to even begin the process. So yeah, it's a vast process. You know what I'm saying? That the beautiful thing is that thought is the cause of it all. Thought is the cause of it all. And if we just understand that, we understand how we are magnets and how the things that we think we actually attract. And in this day and time, it's happening more often. It's happening faster. Everything is moving at a faster rate. When your phone rings, a lot of times, a lot of y'all know who it is on the phone before you pick it up. You might think you're guessing, like, oh, I was right. You're not guessing. You know what I'm saying? You're not guessing. Just pay attention, because we're on another frequency. The prophet talked about a new era of time. Not only did he talk about not only was he talking about an age of time, but he was also talking about a frequency. How do we know? Because it's written somewhere that he may have stated that I will let every evil spirit loose on the earth. There's nothing but let loose certain spirits. See, just because we leave the physical form, as you know, does not mean death at all. It's just a transition. You know, like going from the 9th grade to the 10th grade, you pass, you transition from, you know what I'm saying? These are states. These are states. Man has lived on every existence in some form or another. This is just one of those other existences. We've always been. Allah is, and so are we. We're the thoughts. So we've always been going and coming, going and coming, going and coming. You know what I'm saying? So we're in a great place. We're in a divine place. And the beautiful thing is that we can share these lessons as brothers and sisters and share and, you know, and be the embodiment of those divine principles, man, because it's just so important, because that's where the power lies. Remember, when we saying certain things, y'all, like our Moorish American prayer, you know, you can chant it, you know what I'm saying? You can sing it. You can do a lot of things with it. You could break it down and pull pieces out of it and pray certain parts of it or whatever. But remember, whenever you're using words, people say, you know, this is a powerful word. If you chant this word, certain things will happen. That may be true. But the reality is it's not the word that's causing it to happen. It's the vibration that the word makes, or the sound vibrating that the word makes. It's the vibration that the word comes off your mouth that causes things to happen. You know what I mean? Which is why it's so beautiful to, you know, to be able to use Sanskrit, to use Arabic, to use Hebrew, to do certain chants and so on and so forth, because those are rhythmic frequency languages. They're creation languages. You know what I'm saying? Function, purpose. The purpose would be to raise your vibration, to raise your frequency, to be able to, the body is a shell. We use this for this plane of existence, but we are able to do other things outside of the body. And it's talked about in chapter 1 of our Moorish Holy Koran. It's talked about. Chapter 1 of our Moorish Holy Koran is a very powerful chapter, because not only is it a great chapter, but it's an invocation. You know what I'm saying? That the chapter is an invocation. The chapter is a talisman. It's a lot of things. You can do a lot of things with that chapter if you understand. It's a beautiful chapter. Remember, the secrets of the Magi is in this book. The secret of the ages and so on and so forth. The mysteries revealed in this book, according to what our prophet said. So if you can have the eyes to differentiate and able to understand certain things, you'll be able to see. High science is here, very high. So we have a great book. This to me, this is the adept lesson. This is the degree. The 101s is the adept degree. The divine constitution and bylaws is the adept degrees. You know what I'm saying? The prophet said, if you want to be a good Moorish master, you got to know those three things, and you got to know them and know them so well that you embody them, you become them. You see what I'm saying? So those, for me, are the footprints that was clearly cut, that's left and clearly cut, that everyone can see. Those are footprints to me. Those three pieces.
Hmm.
Because I can clearly see him. So I know
That's
which way
right.
he went.
That's right.
Nobody has to tell me which way he went. I know. Because he left his footprints clearly cut. Islam?
Islam. Islam, Moors. Hope y'all getting this breath of heaven tonight. Because, man, some great lessons here. Great perspectives, some great insight. Again,
Right.
if you're sitting on a question, don't hesitate. It's not often that you get to have access to this many Moorish leaders from all around the country. So I encourage you, if you're thinking about it, raise your hand. Islam, Brother Paris Bay, you have the floor, sir.
Islam, gratitude, my brother. Just want to say
Islam.
praise Allah. I said again, honor to all the harbingers, honor to each and every one of you, everything good, because you spoke on a few things. As you said on a question, and I was going to counter back on the sister and the response from the brother about instruction. And what I've been doing, you know what I'm saying, to prepare myself is, sitting in silent meditation. As soon as I rise in the morning, I don't even get out the bed. As soon as I open my eyes, I say, praise Allah. Alhamdulillah, Allahu
Right.
Akbar, Islam, La ilaha illallah, you know what I'm saying? And I just meditate, so I can prepare my mind for the day and I can focus on those principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Focus on my higher self, justice, mercy, love, and right, and I meditate on those things, and I envision what I'm going to do for the day. You know what I'm saying? So in that, I'm just preparing myself. Before I even get out of my bed, I stretch. All type of gases and stuff coming out. You know what I'm saying? And I know that I breathe. I work on my breathing,
Right.
vibration, working on my chakras, and I see that it works. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because good is our power. And I just work on those things, the good things, instead of weeping at the calamities of the human state.
Right.
Nah, just necessary. You know what I'm saying?
Praise God, brother. I think that's beautiful, brother. And you mentioned, see, the beautiful thing about Allah is the mercy that He's given us. You mentioned La ilaha illallah. Imagine if you had a stroke, right? Imagine if you had a stroke and your body can't move, you can't make prayer, you can't pray. But guess what? You can say La ilaha, La ilaha illallah without moving your lips. It's just the movement of your tongue. You can say it with your mouth closed. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to move your lips. So you can still, like, even in a state of distress, you can still say La ilaha illallah without your lips moving. Just your tongue. Let's just be open. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha. You just you know what I mean? So of course with your lips moving, La ilaha illallah is different, but you can do it. So that was just a little point of reference. It's something that I just find interesting. You know what I'm saying? But even that, as a zikr, that creates a frequency. All of those La ilaha, Alhamdulillah, Bismillah, La ilaha, La ilaha, Huwa, Astaghfirullah. It's a couple of them that that you could utilize, as well as even in Hebrew, Yah Shakti and Yah Adonai, and so on and so forth. So even our Moorish American prayer, you could chant that. You can count it on prayer beads. You can say it 100 times, 1,000 times, as many times as you want. You know what I'm saying? You can be like, Allah is my protector, Allah is my guide, Allah is my guide, Allah is my protector, Allah is my guide. You can break it down any way that you choose to and use it. And it creates, if you get a rhythm, it's going to create a vibration. That's why you see people zikr, they rock. They rock. I'm saying, or La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. They move. Because what it does, it activates. You activating Kundalini powers and all that type of stuff, man. This is all science. Everything we do in Islam is science. Indeed, it's definitely purification. Definitely purification. You know what I'm saying? So, and what did the Prophet tell you? To keep your mind, to keep your heart, mind pure, and your body clean with water, right?
Islam.
So the purity of the heart is done through zikr, is done through the remembrance of Allah, to remember Allah at all times. As much as you can. Not only in our prayers, we pray, some of us pray 3 times a day, some of us pray 5 times a day, some of us pray more than that. But even in between that, you know what I'm saying? Always keep Allah on your mind in some form or another. Whenever you do something, just, praise Allah. You know what I'm saying? Alhamdulillah. Just always keep that, just keep the gratitude. Stay grateful to Allah.
Islam. Wow. Islam. And I forgot to ask everybody to please share where you're from before you speak, just so we could, connect with each other from around the country. Because from what I've seen so far, we got Indiana, we got New York, we got Virginia, we got California, we have Alabama, we have Arizona, we got literally more from all 3 time zones present. So praise Allah. But we got other hands that have rose too. So let's go ahead and call them and get their questions into the dialogue. So first we're gonna go to our sister Ashley, then we're gonna go to D. Shipman Bay, and then we'll go to Ricardo Bay.
Islam family. First, I rise and give complete, perfect praise to the great Father God Allah. Honors to our prophet and honors to honors already given. I'm super glad that we're having this demonstration right now. I just wanted to share something that just kind of blew my mind a little bit. And it's basically me. I'm taking up neuropsychology right now. And today we were talking about learning memory and learning things and then the memory that you already have. So it's called implicit memory and explicit memory. Explicit memory is the ability to recall or recognize previous experiences. The learning memory is a change in your behavior. You change your behavior when you do this. So basically, I'm looking at this chapter and I read it a few times this morning. And chapter 37 just really took me back to the creation of fallen man. And it's just basically saying, don't forget where you came from. Do not forget why I created you. And when we were talking about just utilizing our hands and our body, this is because Allah has brought you here because you have a duty to fulfill. So don't flaunt the body, because listen, I brought you here for a reason. And when you talked about the winds and the blowings of the directions, that is your intuition, but it's also the fact that, it's all about learned behavior. When people realize that they have a choice, sometimes we tend to ignore our intuition. And it's the behavior that we learn, and it becomes repetitive. It becomes constant, that we continue to ignore our intuition like we don't know that we are soul of man. So I just truly appreciate this because my paper is about to be fired. And also, I know it's a lot of hands raised, but I would also like to just have you elaborate more, Islam, on instruction 11, because the smile and the blushes, I just want to learn a little bit more about how you were going into depth about this. And I yield. Thank you.
And where you from, sis? Where you from?
I'm from the Mecca, from Chicago, but I'm with 14.
Beautiful. You wanted me to go into the part about the blushing?
Yes, instruction 11. Well, in my book is instruction 11. I don't have the official Quran. I got one from online.
Oh, okay. It is actually let's see here. Oh, we're in 37. I'm okay. Here we go. I'm sorry. Yes. Yep. Okay. The blushing. What I was talking about is the creation, right? The way Allah has created us. And I was talking about the muscles in the face and the smile and the frown and so on and so forth. But it talks of the reason that is, you can see, remember, man himself is a sign and symbol. Sign and symbol himself. You understand what I'm saying? Each one of us. You know what I mean? We give off messages all the time. You know what I'm saying? We have some people who are masters at reading the language of the body and the expressions of the body, consciously and unconsciously. See, sometimes people give off messages unconsciously, not even knowing that they're giving off messages or what that message may mean to somebody else who's perceiving it. You understand what I'm saying? So when you look at that, the blush, the face, like when you, like, for instance, poker, playing, they call it having a poker face, where the face shows no emotion. Because if it did this or this, that's readable. Oh, if I smile, he probably got a royal flush. If I frown, that means I got a bad hand, so on and so on. So certain things, he's telling you that the world can see your shame on your face, but that shame is also a manifestation of your physical actions. Not only that, but the actions that have already preceded you, the things that you've already done. Because remember, the sin is in the thought. The action is just you becoming devil and on it. So now you a devil. You understand what I'm saying? But you've been whispered the suggestion, the thought. That suggestion becomes a thought because you contemplate that suggestion. That thought is a whole nother situation. You know what I mean? So in other words, like I said, man is a sign and a symbol, and signs and symbols are for the conscious mind, are for those who are consciously, has a high conscious understanding that's a little bit exalted over the average person or persons. So that's masterwork. That's why you have things like NLP. They have things called NLP and you know, I created my own therapy. There's a thing called CBT and DBT. I created something called CIT, which is cognitive interventive therapy. I've created my own form of therapy that teaches the individual how to be their own therapist, how to identify the maladaptive behaviors and the dysfunctional thought processes that they themselves create, but not knowing that they are creating them. Islam?
Wow. Islam.
Duriya Saba is Arabic. Duriya Saba means circle 7.
Wow.
So we're definitely important, you know, to understand all of these things because it's all science, it's all psychology, right? Because remember, psychology is the study of the soul. And where does the soul reside? In the brain, right? So if they alter your brain, they can alter the soul, right? If they alter your form of thinking and give you another idea that you begin to worship and take on as your own and you claim it as yours, you have begun to alter the process. This is why I say the sister just mentioned earlier about the external demonstrations, and and it's very important because it's a powerful thing that she's talking about. And it's funny because I remember hearing that language before, and we had some discussions about the same topic. But when we begin to examine how we operate to others as well as our individual selves, me personally, I operate on what I would call feeling. And I don't mean feeling like filling a book or, you know, feeling something physically. I have the ability to observe my surroundings without having to touch anything. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you ever walk in a room and you know exactly what's going on and you haven't spoken to nobody? You know who's mad, you know what I'm saying? Many of us have that. It's a developed thing too. The more you begin to understand you begin to get certain things happening to you, and you be like, oh, I got this. Like you think it's a gift. You be like, man, like Allah is giving me gifts. No, Allah is giving you the innate talents that already are inside of you are being released because you're getting more in tune with the divinity that is within you. And the stronger the God in you, the stronger the Allah in you gets, the stronger the shaitan in you gets. So you have to, if man must find his devil, where must he look? Right.
Within his name itself.
Not around the corner. You see what I mean? See how Islam works? Islam makes you accountable for your own ways and actions. And that's a form of justice. That's a form of justice, being accountable for your own ways and actions. That's a form of justice. And justice can be what? It can be something that you can get as a reward, or justice can be some form of a penalty. But that's the decision of the individual. Either he be in heaven or hell, which is, again, a condition or a state. Conditions and states of mind are manifestations of environment, surroundings, past, present, trauma, so on and so forth. You understand what I mean? Because trauma is something that's relevant in all of our lives. And everybody on this joint right here, we have trauma in some form or another. Everybody. Some form or another, there's some form of trauma that you have attached to you right at this very moment. But recognize not the trauma that you have caused for your own self. We all have those things. But I'm talking about the traumas outside of you that are attached to you now because of your frequency. See, when you take up the job of in Moorish America, you become a divine minister or you become a sheik and you go through certain things, Allah puts something on you. You become responsible. So this is why I'm always like, yo, I don't want no titles. I don't want nobody fucking me because I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to be behind the altar. Yeah, I might get you in trouble. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't do what I do. I got my own issues. I'm a man. I got issues too.
Islam.
Islam. But that's the reality. See, I can be accountable for those things. If I know that they exist, I can fix them. That's the science of being accountable for your own ways and actions, bro. Because nobody else is going to do it for you. Right?
Right.
You see what I mean? So, and the brother mentioned something earlier. The brother Paris Bay, he mentioned meditation and he mentioned breath. I want to share this with you. That is where you find Allah. Behind the breath. Allah is behind your breath.
Islam, Mo. So the breath of heaven, would that be Allah speaking through man?
Yes, sir. Because also, force. Ricardo Bay said force. Come on, man. Force. Remember, force is the will of Allah. Power is an illusion and there's just force. And force is the will of Allah. You know how Allah demonstrates his force, his will? You know how it's demonstrated? The force is demonstrated through his will. But what is Allah's will? Allah is infinite, right? What man can tell you the will of Allah? No man.
Nobody.
But what I can tell you is that I am the will of Allah because I'm the thought of Allah made manifest. And if you know anything about manifesting and bringing a thought into existence, it takes will. The will is what makes the thought live. So I am the will of Allah made manifest. And every book that I have written was the will of me writing that book. That was my will. That book is the manifestation of my will. My creation, the book. My will made manifest, the force. Force of Allah demonstrated through his creation.
Islam, Mo. Look, you demonstrated tonight, Sheik. This is truly the breath of heaven, man. It's the right chapter.
Praise God.
Cause you bringing it tonight, Mo. And I see we got two other hands that are raised, and we also have some comments in the group chat. So we're gonna go to these other two hands and encourage everyone else to please raise your hand if you have a question. But we're gonna go to our sister D Shipman Bay. Remember, y'all share where you're from too. And then we'll go
Islam.
to
Sister D.
Ricardo Bay
Shipman
after that.
Bay. Islam. Sister D. Shipman Bay out of Newark, New Jersey. Now, as I
Praise God.
understand this chapter, the breath of heaven, I see discipline and I see gratitude. So,
Praise God.
mastermind to mastermind. Would you agree with that particular perspective that it takes discipline and gratitude to bring forth that spirit of heaven, that truth of heaven, Islam?
Not only does it take discipline and gratitude, it takes obedience.
Mm-hmm.
Islam, I agree with you. But I agree also to add on to your thought that obedience is necessary as well.
Islam. Islam. Did he answer your question, sister? Did you have any more, Shikas?
No, Islam. I accept the that which is put forth. Islam.
Praise Allah.
Islam. Islam. Sheik Brother Ricardo Bay, you had the floor, sir. So you had your hand raised.
Praise Allah, honor to the Prophet, noble Drew Ali, the last prophet of these days and times.
Praise
Honor
Allah.
to all things that was given honors to. This is Brother Ricardo Bay, originally from Brooklyn, New York. Currently, I'm in Tucson, Arizona.
Islam, brother.
Islam. I had a few points I wanted to make on some things you touched on prior, and I'll just make those briefly about all of the things that were brought to us. These are means to an end. And to
That's
your
right.
point about the remembrance of Allah, why we have a Holy Koran, why we have a prayer, why we have a prophet, all of these things are pointing us back to oneness with Allah. And all of these things are were placed in our hands so that we can so that we can remember Allah at all times and in everything that we do.
That's right.
Islam, this is how we create the heaven, which is that state of mind which we then manifest and create the reality we experience here on earth.
That's
Islam.
right. That's right.
So just want to make that point, Sheik, and I just got to say you're doing an amazing job. I don't have no more to say. I'm sitting back. I'm tuned in, and I'm all ears. Praise Allah. Honor to the Prophet.
Thank you, brother. Praise Allah. Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, I'm honored to be here. And again, I'm just honored to be sitting amongst y'all, adding on, building. This is a beautiful thing. I love to build. I'm an old 5%er. My first school of thought was 5% nation. I got knowledge of self in 1980. I was 12 years old. You know what I mean? I'm 60 years old. I'll be 60 in a couple of years. You know what I mean? But
Wow.
But yeah. Praise the Lord. You know what I'm saying? I'm still around. I'm still doing my thing. I'm still, I still get it on with the hands too. We train. You got to train, man. It's very important to keep the body in a particular place, man. Even though we're getting older, we got to stay physically fit because, Allah tests us.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Allah will test you. What makes you think you won't be tested when you say you
Islam.
are? You understand
That's
what I
right.
mean? When you say you are who you are, Allah will test you. He will put you to the test. What practical application do you see in the chapter pertaining to the current situation? In chapter 37, ayat 8, about your eyes. Because right now, social media, the television, social media, and all of these things right now are dealing, and they have a direct connection and relationship to your eyes, which are connected to your brain, right?
Mm.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
they are sending things directly to us. In the Bible, it talks about, in the book of Ephesians, it mentions something about the prince of the air and how the people will basically be giving reverence to the prince of the air. The prince of the air, that's the internet. That's the Wi-Fi stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that is a form and frequency that is a very low form of frequency as well. So we're tuned into shaitan. We're tuned into the forces of that frequency daily. And it's chasing our children. It doesn't want us. It wants our children. You know what I'm saying? And it uses us to get to our children simply by conditioning, social engineering, conditioning, and so on and so forth. The repetition can be dangerous, but repetition can also be divine, depending on how the repetition is used. For instance, Hollywood continues to make movies that's about Asiatic trauma. That's repetition of trauma. That creates a particular thought process, right? So when they keep making these movies of repetition of trauma, we act these things out. Why? Because they're hitting you. They know. See, you got to remember, yo, we're dealing with sorcerers. We're dealing with sorcerers. They're sorcerers. But the Prophet gave us some magic too. Islam gave us some magic too. You understand? And it is in the union of man and Allah as one. You cannot be afraid to say that you are God. You can't be afraid to say that, because that's what you are. When Allah made man the Khalifa, the successor, the one to name everything, including the angels. Here's a little glimpse in the Holy Koran in Surah Baqarah, the second surah. It discusses what happened in what we call Shamayin, or what we call heaven, that happened in heaven with Allah and the angels, right? Allah told the angels to bow down to Adam, the creation. The angels refused, at first the angels didn't know what was going on. They had an issue or problem, whatever. So Allah told Adam, give everybody a name, name them, name the angels. Because he named all of creation, he named everything. But he also was told to name the angels before he became earthbound. One angel rebelled, right? And this angel was called Iblis or whatever. But the only reason, remember, Iblis didn't have a name. Remember, Adam named it. Adam gave them all names. Remember, listen, Adam gave them names. They didn't have names. With a name comes a nature. Adam gave them names. That is how Iblis rebelled, because his name was rebellion. But how was Adam to even know to name him Iblis? Because of the union of Allah and man. Because remember, Adam is a thought of Allah. He already know he's a perfect being on that in that creation. You see what I mean? So it's the same type of scenario. Same type of scenario. Same situation. In the name is a nature. So whenever you are able to name something, or somebody names you, there is a nature that comes along with it. So when you're dealing with the science of black, colored, and Negro, those are frequencies. Those are characteristic descriptions that you actually become when you claim to be a nigga, super thug, or all that. You take on the frequency and you become those things. That's the science of sorcery. And then they give you images to back the sorcery, to back the word. They create the images for you. They created the word. It's their definition. You see what I'm saying? So here's the psychology. This is warfare.
Islam, hey, you demonstrated tonight, Sheik. And you said something powerful about the hands too, of just how you just stay in shape, take care of yourself. I saw Pray for L had a video he shared earlier of him going to work on the boxing glove, on the punching bag. So that's just something I noticed that's consistent as well amongst our elders, is this emphasis for us to take care of our body, stay active, stay in shape.
Bro, I come from an era, man, I grew up in the 70s, man. You know what I'm saying? And I come from an era where everybody was the brothers walk around with big afros and kung fu jackets on and black and red bottom slippers, and everybody sparring in the streets. Like doing flips. I learned to flip on the concrete off a mattress. My first back flip off a mattress. I did my first head spin in 1979.
Oh wow. I was born in '85, sir, so I wasn't here yet. So it's
I graduated high school in '86.
You graduated high school in '86.
Yeah.
Praise Allah.
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
And then I went to the military. I did 2 years in the military. I caught a crack addiction in the military from the age of 17 to 20.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a movie. I should actually write a book about those 3 years. I was thinking about it.
Islamo. And I see we got our brother Sheik Ricardo Bears his hand up, so we're gonna go to him. But afterwards, after he with his question, we deal with whatever his thoughts might be. I definitely would love for you to speak about your books. What are those about, and where can we find more reference? Where can we purchase those from?
Sure.
But it's Sheik Ricardo Bear. You have the floor again, sir.
Praise Allah. I just want to make a quick point about the staying in shape, the health, right? I'm getting my health in order for the third time, right? Getting things back in order. And it's important because the physical body is a manifest of soul, right? Thinking, understanding, reasoning, and willing. Qualities not the soul, the arts, actions, not its essence. So, like Buddha said, we are only the sum thoughts, right? Of our thoughts, words, and deeds. Where we are, who we are today, what we think today is the sum total of all of those things. So that's the importance, right? So if I can look at a person and see their physical frame, it pretty much tells me, okay, about their thinking, how they're thinking, how they understanding, how they reasoning, how they willing. Islam. So just want to drop that. That's why it's important for us, Moors. Islam.
Islam. See, that ties right back into the chapter where the sister was asking about the blushing in the body, in the face, and so on and so forth. He just mentioned how he said if he looks at a person's frame, he can see how they're in shape, or which talks about how they think and so on and so forth. That's what I mean about reading signs and symbols. See how he just broke that down simply from the body shape, or you know what I'm saying, the way a person moves, the way they stand, all of this stuff for a particular mind. I'm a military-minded individual.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I see everything in the form of preparation and warfare. That's just how I see the war. That's just how I see everything. Yeah, everything is for me being prepared for war, whatever it may be, because man is always at combat. Let me explain something to you. We are always at war, mostly with ourselves. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, we are always at war. Physically, weight issues, obese problems, working out, getting healthy, so on and so forth. Emotionally, divorces, relationships, trauma, death. We are always at war. So you must always be prepared for the war that is within thee first.
Islam.
Because some things that contribute to the war was born within thee. It came with thee, like misery. It came with this.
Wow.
I
got a question. Is it fair to say that Islam creates good problems for us then?
Yes, because man is accountable for his own ways and actions. Therefore, the Quran says all good things come from Allah and all bad things come from you.
Wow. That's fire.
Same thing the Prophet said, pretty much.
Islam.
Yeah, I mean, we are the creators. We are the creators and the makers of our own heaven or hell. See, man can choose to have heaven or hell. He may not know consciously what he's doing, but we make choices every day. And this is the thing. We talked about this. Somebody mentioned earlier about choices and so on and so forth. But really, do we have choice? Because if we don't listen to the intuition, what happens after that when you make that wrong choice, there's the consequence. So yes, you do have choice. But a lot of times the choices we make result in problems. If you don't have an understanding of this and how Allah has created you and what all of this is about. This is the school. Man, this is the school. All of this. It's a lesson in here, man. You know what I'm saying? We quick to read a lot of books, but we don't open up this book. We don't even get to the table of contents with this book. We don't get to the table of contents with this book. We don't even get to the chapters with this book. You know what I'm saying? This is it. Exactly. Know thyself.
Mm.
All of thyself, because you have etheric self, astral self. You got a bunch of different types of selves connected to the self. Man is electrified. Man is made way more than his body. You got to remember, the makeup of man is of the four cosmic forces of creation, right? Man is air, fire, water, and earth. There's no doubt about it. Think about it.
Mm. Islam.
He breathes, right? He can
Mm-hmm.
breathe. Doesn't he have a solar plex? That's right. I did say that the body is the Kaaba. I said that years ago. Islam. Wow. Damn, that's a flashback. But think about it. He can breathe. He has air, breath, right? He has a solar plex or plexus solar,
Mm.
LAR, solar plexus, sun, a heat seat.
Mm.
His temperature is 98.6 degrees, but if he drinks alcohol, the temperature gets higher because there's a flame in him. If he gets sick and get the flu, there's an ignition in him that creates a poisonous flame in him.
Mm.
He's 75% water,
Mm.
right? And of course, the flesh, while the child is being carried, the flesh is formed from the air that the mother breathes. That forms flesh cells and all that. Earth. He's the cosmic creator for. He's air, fire, water, and earth.
Wow.
And he's the fifth element. Because remember, he's not his body. I know, bro. I know.
Islam, oh, the breath of heaven, man. This is deep, Mo.
Bro.
I know. I see the minds are working. Everybody is just reflecting and just absorbing, and lots of encouragement coming in the group chat because this is the breath of heaven. This is what it sounds like. It's holy breath.
Well,
It's
I appreciate you brothers and sisters allowing me to be here. I've written about 8 books. One of my books, 2 of them that are out right now. There's a book called Hear Me Now, which is out. You can get it at lulu.com. And then there's the other book, the Moorish Handbook of Degrees and Mysteries, that I wrote a couple years back, which is a pretty good book as well. I wrote Jesus Was a Muslim. You can also find that on lulu.com. If not, you can find it on Amazon. And a couple other books. The Divine Creed of the Moorish Scientist is another book I wrote. So yeah, I'm currently working on a workbook now for my therapy that I created, the cognitive interventive therapy. I'm creating a workbook right now that will actually be utilized for people to apply to work on, to help them understand and work on themselves. But I want to do collaborations and workshops as well. I would love to do workshops and teach psychoeducation as well to our community because, mental health is a stigma in our community. It's something that goes undetected, undiagnosed, unchecked. And, it's a stigma to it, man. And a lot of times our people don't understand schizophrenia. They don't understand certain things. And if they were educated to these things, they would be able to understand a lot of things that they're witnessing outside. Yeah, I mean, they'd be like, well, that nigga crazy, he bugging out. But you know what? They may be like, you know what? That's unspecified schizophrenia that we're looking at. We need to get this person some help because these things are happening in our homes. Autism and all types of other things are happening to us. And we're not prepared because we don't have an understanding of these things, which is why I created Daria Saba. You know what I'm saying? Cognitive interventive solutions was because of these things, psychoeducation, to go into underrepresented, marginalized communities and teach psychoeducation and also teach the science of cognitive interventive therapy to work, because it's going to work better than CBT or DBT for us. There's a cultural component to it. And also I'm showing you the origin of your maladaptive behaviors and so on and so forth.
Wow, Islam. I got a question too. Earlier, you made reference to NLP, and I remember when I got into NLP a few years ago, I started to reflect, and my question for you is more science a form of NLP for us?
Yep.
Thought so. Islam. And for those who may not be familiar, NLP is neuro linguistic programming. If you can you elaborate a little bit about NLP and little more about your profession because you use a couple of acronyms related to the mental health field, and I
With
do
what?
know we have a couple of members in that space as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure the sister Ashley, she's well aware of these things as well. When you're talking about neuro, you're talking about neurons, right? So they're programming the neurons. The neurons is what causes, when the neurons spark, they fire. This is what causes thought, so on and so forth. It comes, there's an electrical, see, the body is crazy, man. It's so many things, so many inner workings that's going on within. And those inner workings are described in ancient and holy books under different names and under different things. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll describe the process of neuron spark as ajna in the Bhagavad Gita, or certain, it'll go through a whole story actually talking about the neurons and the brains and so on and so forth. All of the holy books, a lot of them are actually talking about the physiology and the makeup of man, the symbolism, divine workings that's happening within, right? That's why it says wonderfully and wonderfully and fearfully created was man. If you knew, you'd be bugging out if you really understood. So neuro-linguistic programming is actually rewiring the brain. Hardwired and rewiring it again. We've been hardwired to black, colored, and Negro, but Asiatic counters black, colored, and Negro. Just that one word, Asiatic counters black, colored, and Negro. Understanding what Asiatic is, it becomes programmed into your brain because you believe in Asiatic. You no longer adhere to black, colored, and Negro. So it's an easy detachment. So now you are reprogramming the thought or reprogramming the neurons.
Wow. This deep. I
And
love this, Mo.
more science is a whole language. Like
Right.
when more speaking, you know, we speak through our Quran. We
The
speak,
logos.
you know what I'm saying? It's what they call in certain science, they call it senzar, the language of light. You know what I'm saying? A light language or whatever. We speak and it also enforces the neuron, the neuron exposure to the new thought process or the new word or the new idea, reprogramming the brain. Just breaking the hard wires and rewiring. The prophet told you that to go around his thumb to get to his elbow. And then the prophet also told you, I've reconnected you to the higher powers. What does that mean? He said, he didn't say connected you to the higher powers, to the higher power. He said the higher powers.
Right. Islam, Mo. We got to go to the comment section sheet because this is building up here. And I just want to, I'm gonna scroll up from the top and I'm gonna go down and just bring attention to a few of them.
Okay.
There's a few of the comments. We have Sister Johnny L said, I knew someone was gonna ask my question. Gratitude, Sister Ashley. Praise Allah. And Sister Johnny, you know, my Sister Johnny L, I gotta put you on the spot. What was your question? And do you have anything else?
Islam, praise Allah, honor to the Prophet. I'm from Los Angeles, California. Prophet Kenneth L, it was about the blushing because, you know, your sister is a little light-hued and it's always, you know, someone, you know, saying, oh, look, she blushing. But I'm noticing that, you know, it's not really that I'm blushing. It's the thought that's making me blush. So I got to make sure that I'm like, you know, on high when I'm thinking and realize who's making me blush or whatever. So, you know, it's, you know, the question was asked and answered. So I appreciate it. Islam.
Praise Allah. Islam. And let's see what else in the comment section we have. And I just want to bring attention to that. That's why it's encouraged for everybody to ask questions because you might ask a question that somebody else may be thinking. You know, it's a popular saying in the Moor society. They say if you don't want more to know, don't think it. So if you got a thought, somebody is probably sharing the same thought, and you can help us all by bringing forth your question. And just other comments in the group chat, you know, we see emotional intelligence is being referenced. A ton of encouragement. We got one question, brother. When are you coming back? So y'all already know, you know, we got Koran study class every Wednesday. We still got we're on chapter 38, 37 tonight, and we got 36 chapters.
I tapped in a little bit from 36 and 37.
Islam, yeah, hey. I would say this, man. I'm definitely gonna be on your line and finish, coordinate some more for you to come back in the future. I do think we got our sister Jasmine Gray L out of Texas. The Sheik is just on schedule to lead next creation.
Praise God.
Um, but
Anytime you,
hey,
anytime you need me, bro, I'll be more than glad, man. I'll be more than glad to come in the bill.
praise Allah. Yeah, so you definitely gonna be one. We're gonna be having you come back, Mo, because you giving us a great way to study, and that's the objective. Hope everybody is taking that away from tonight. We're learning from sheiks, from elders, from good brothers and sisters, faithful Muslims who really and truly embody these lessons and giving us insight on how they're studied and how they applied and their takeaways from it, and with the hopes it will help all of us.
Yeah,
So,
Muslim.
you know,
I'm Muslim. I mean, I'm just a
I
Muslim.
I know, Mo, but and I agree with you because we know a lot of respect the stations of man. However, to your point, we do have, for the purpose of structure and organization, and we naturally do have to recognize that there are some people who, through their application, through their actions, their words, and their deeds, as the proof of their messiahship, have qualified. And yes, Mo, we recognize you, Sheik. We honor you, Sheik. You blessing us tonight.
Thank you, brother.
Um,
Somebody's asked me about it. I do have a YouTube page. It's under the name of Denham Haqq. So it's DENHAM space HAQQ space capital EL. It's a YouTube page. You just type that name in, and one of the videos will pop up, and you can just hit it and just subscribe if you like. It's about 200 videos on there. They're like power videos. They run anywhere between 5 to 9 minutes. But you can learn a lot from me in 5 minutes. Trust me. I can blah, 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 I drop it and hit you hard. So you might want to check it out. It has some nice stuff. A lot of jewels. I think you guys will enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it.
always Islam, and I would encourage everybody reach out to the brother. I remember my first time calling him on Facebook Messenger. I just
Oh,
had to,
how
and he
long ago?
and he.
How long ago
It
was
was
that?
it was a few years ago, Sheik. It was a few years ago, but you answered. I
Yes,
was
sir.
I was like, yo, he picked up Islam. Praise Allah. And then I stayed in touch, man, and I actually spoke to your son this morning. He's another good Moorish American.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he was. So yeah. So, and also, let's see what else in the group chat. We got other questions. Other questions we have. One question is, do we meet? Yes, we do meet. What you got there? So y'all see that's the brothers. What's that? Your
That's the
YouTube
YouTube.
channel. Y'all see the YouTube channel?
You see the name?
Yep. We're gonna make sure we put that in our group chat as well.
Yeah, that's the channel right there. It has 282 videos
Islam. Wow.
on
Islam.
a bunch of topics like mental health, like everything. I touched everything over there. A lot of these videos are probably anywhere between 7 to 10 years old. A lot of them. Further down the line, a lot of them are old videos, but they're very pertinent because I'm ahead of myself, like way ahead of myself. You will see what I mean.
Hey, I'll say it for you. I'll second that, Mo. You definitely are. I really appreciate how you demonstrate more science.
Right.
You were one of the reasons why I had to get to the temple years ago.
And
I was like,
that's something that's very important. I used to tell Moors all the time. Like I used to hear some Moors say when they was outside talking to people, like people would ask them questions and they would say things like, well, yo, come to the temple Friday, and you know what I'm saying, you can learn a lot more. That's how they would deal with them. I'm
mhm,
saying, no. If you in the streets, what I do is, if I'm outside and somebody asks me some questions about Moorish science, I answer it. I take them through it. And guess what they do? They run to the temple on Friday because of what I did
Islam.
outside. I didn't say, no, I can't answer you. Come to the temple on Friday. No, I demonstrate on the spot. And they be on fire to get, yo, you gonna be there Friday? Yo, be on fire, man. And that's how you got to do it. That's being on the
That's
highway.
right.
How you gonna turn the souls to the prophet and to Allah? How you gonna do that behind just four walls on Sunday and Wednesday and Friday or whatever? You know what I mean? You got this is
Islam.
Live. This is Islamism. And love,
Islamism.
peace, freedom, and justice are our principles. But Islamism is our religion. It's what we do. It's what we live. This is a lifestyle.
Demonstrate. Islam. Hey, the breath of heaven, Morris. Hope you're getting it.
So, I thank y'all again for having me. I have to go to work in the morning, about 6 o'clock. So, I'm gonna get ready to lay it down in a few, brother. If you don't mind, if you don't mind me departing a little bit early, so I can prepare myself. I got to pray and do some other things before I lay it down, man. So, I mean, but I got to get up and go to work in the morning. I work.
Islam.
Yeah, I'm a mental health. I'm a mental health therapist. I work for a company called Circare. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I do on the side. But I also do work for us because there's a lot of problems inside of mental health with Asiatic people. And what I mean by that is we have access to mental health, but we have barriers to the access. What I mean is, you can go to a hospital or whatever, but then there's a barrier to actual access and proper therapy work. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, these are mostly European women who are not sympathetic, who are not culturally competent to even deal with our issues. They can't even, you know what I'm saying? They don't even have the tools or the resources to deal with us, to even have a simple conversation. What they'll do is they'll make it more worse for us. They'll start turning us into the criminal, and they're supposed to be helping us, and they'll criminalize us, man. I see it all the time. I have to correct things at my job sometimes when I see it, man, because it's bad. Microaggressions and other things is bad, man. But that's why what I do, though.
You made me think, as you were saying that, it made me think of drapetomania, how the first mental condition, how they conditioned people who run away from slavery with drapetomania as a condition, stating that if you didn't want to accept slavery, that something was wrong with you. So that's just this thought that sparked in my head when you said that, how them not being culturally aware of who we are, and how literally their diagnostics is literally often just make it worse. So I'm glad to see we Morris therapists, Morris Americans in the profession. So and the call actually is about to end too. So you good if we got to get ready to wrap it up.
I thank y'all again. Islam to all of the Moors, Sheikhs, brothers and sisters. I appreciate you for having me here, thanking me for coming, allowing me to come in, and me thanking you for allowing me to be here. It was a pleasure. I hope to do it again. And please reach out to me. Anybody want to build, just holler at me, man. I'm like I said, I'm an elder. I do counsel, some wise counsel. You want to talk to a brother about some issues, you know what I mean? Boxing, whatever, man. I'm open. I'm a good dude. You can holler at me. I ain't got no problems. I ain't stuck I ain't got no problem. I'm not arrogant at all, man. You know what I mean? So if you want, man, I'm there. I answer my phone.
Praise Allah.
I'll take
Islam more.
Islam. Peace and love.
Well, look, Islam. Well, Sister D. Shipman Bear, you able to close us out?
Islam. Praise Allah, honest as prophet. Honest to our dear brother here. I got a couple incoherent sentences, and this is a good thing because the 12 lanes of thought traffic in my head. Praise Allah.
Praise the Lord.
Masterminds. While I grab my Morris literature, again, honest to the brother, because wow. I want to talk your head off. I want to just, Islam. Article 26 to be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement, now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years, Prophet Noble Jawali. Islam.
Islam.
It's a lot of law here. We're going to pick through it real quick. He calls upon all faithful Moors, and according to Acts 7, in order to be entitled to the name of faithful, you must pay your dues, make your meetings, and keep in line with all necessities. How do we keep in line with all necessities? I need finance and I need it badly. Islam, so we can shove aside the discord. This demonstration of unity here tonight at this National Koran class is by no accident, Islam, but it does take finance to continue to uplift the nation. Dropped in the chat is the Temple Treasury for Virginia Beach Temple, Branch Temple 14, so that we might continue to uphold this banner and shove aside the discord that faces our nation, continue to bring sheiks from every corner of the Moorish diaspora to the table so that we can build and learn together. Islam, because the first three words at the top of our divine constitution and bylaws is salvation, Allah, and unity. Islam, a demonstration that was made clear this evening. So the Temple Cash App has been dropped in the chat. That is $ VA, the word beach, BEACH, the word treasury, TREASURY. If you think our conditions can continue to change and we can continue to improve them using this platform, a National Koran class where we get together and study together in the sacred groves, no different from my brother Jesus and all his masterminds if you read your Koran. Islam?
Islam.
Article 27, to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. This is the instruction from your Prophet Noble Jawali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I Noble Jawali. And that is why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear. At least they will be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving. And they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Nawaju Ali. Islam. If you are a governing official of the Moorish Science Temple of America, please rise. The Prophet warns all Muslims. Governors ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. Friday, January 15th, 1929. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not disruption. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the prophet, toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Jawali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Noble Jawali. Islam. I'm going to check to see if we have an account. Islam, praise Allah. So far, I've got a count of 30. It may go up. Islam, we have a count of $130. Praise Allah and honest to each of you that remit that are entitled to the name of faithful. Islam, the fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nations of North America need to learn to love instead of hate and to know of their higher self and lower self. This is the uniting of the Holy Koran of Mecca for the teaching and instructing of all Moorish Americans, etc. The Holy Koran and the Moorish Science Temple of America. Know yourself and your Father God Allah, that you may learn to love instead of hate. Every man needs to worship under his own vine and fig tree. The uniting of Asia. Yes. Islam, I have my son present. Hello. Can you do the Moorish American person here? Yes. Islam. All who are able, please rise. More shields touching. 2 on the right, 5 on the left. Moorish American prayer.
Allah, Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah's purpose.
Islam. I don't know what happened there, but we have my son present. He's going to close us out with the Moorish American prayer. Islam. All who are able, please rise. Moorish shields touching. 2 on the right, 5 on the left. The Moorish American prayer.
Allah, Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah's my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, through Ali. Amen.
Islam, this meeting is officially declared closed. Go in peace, Morris.
Islam. Peace and love, family. I love y'all.
Peace and love.
Islam, 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 peace and love.
Islam, peace and love.
Islam, peace and gratitude.